In what I would declare as closure of my introductory using YouTube as introductory presentation, I would enclose also, despite the fact that I have recognized religion as a matter of rewriting the history and transforming Macedonian imperial bloodline into some kind of religious artifacts that have become also synonym for some kind of red carpet for their and basically drivers to their entire entertainment industry. I'm not going to call it theirs, but that is planetary entertainment industry, but not just entertainment industry. We're talking music industry, we're talking sport, we're talking literature, we are talking philosophy, we are talking intelligence altogether on some kind of next level. They have just decided to bring all of that in some kind of magic box and close it there. And basically, we talk about the event of complete occupation of the planet by some kind of different cultural setting altogether. So what I want to say is there is one momentum that still brings brings me some kind of additional questioning of how far we have clear case here. When you look at the churches and you see that on the top of the churches there is therefore a roof of the building, and there are all various saints on that roof as a protectors. It makes you to think what can possibly fly on this planet or walk and crawl on this planet, and how easy it would be for us to declare the humanity if we would allow everything to fly freely, crawl or walk. I'm not going to speak of any specifics here, and I still think that we have reached levels today as a civilizational deploy where we would certainly need to ask questions beyond someone squaring our mind in the boxes. No one can expect of us something like that anymore. I'm just saying that still we need to employ some kind of caution in terms of what's out there really, and how far by having our churches in place we have not provided for ourselves some kind of safeguard versus alternative dimensions. And are we not talking here again still about some kind of agreement or some kind of therefore formulation that is sky related, and that it might well bring us on the subject of interstellar discussion, as it is Saturn versus Mars, or Venus versus Mars, or Venus and Mars versus Saturn. But fact is that it might be that we have here interference by Mars and Venus on the planet, not only by Saturn. And that in each of the cases we need certain roof on our skies because we have extremisms here. So there is not just one sky in South Serbia. There is another sky above Macedonia, and Macedonians continue to be silent about it. That is what would make number 8 as well. There are two skies, and by the way, one sky, the upper sky is smaller, and the southern sky is bigger, which means smaller versus bigger planet. Now I'm going to notice also that someone certainly gave me, that is to my name, to holder of my name, to my name, that is, a right to decide. Obviously, there is a reason why someone gave me that right. Obviously, there is something in the history of this planet that indicates, it's pointing out to such rights attached to my character. Or should I say to my dimension. If I'm going to enclose or refer to the size of the planets as some kind of energetic entities that are present in our solar system, you would notice that Jupiter and Saturn stand up by large in the size versus the rest of the planets. And you will notice that the biggest planet of all is actually Jupiter. I'm going to notice also that the name of the planet decodes into, certainly we hold Pita, word Pita, which means asking. And you can read it as you Pita her, or you are asking her. Or J, Jesus, is framing, the one that is asking. We are talking here about mother and son, but you say the relationship between son Jesus and mother Mary is not exactly classic one. It would be because the son was declared as son of father and fathers, and taken therefore by, I would notice in this case scenario, Saturn would be planet of fathers or fraternity, a smaller one asking the bigger wisdom, declared son as a father. Father is smaller mental figure here, you will notice. Declaring son as ownership of the smaller entity is not going to give us better future. It is not going to give us a better future. It is not going to be a promise of better future. I'm going to now find, I'm speaking here completely in metaphysical ways. I find this entire matter very critical important, and as a mother, I am willing to use whatever interface I can just to bring forward the message. How inappropriate is fathers to continue to use our kids in the way how they find that appropriate, or should I say rather inappropriate, to the extent that they have completely damaged and basically shadowed everything that people of my kind have been accomplishing on this earth with very hard work, very hard, dedicated, honest and hard work, to find some kind of light-minded figures, simply destroying all of our efforts and everything we have building on this planet. My anger does have all of the justification. And I'm going to say firmly here today, fathers do not have right to declare sons anymore. Fathers do not have right to declare Jesus. My verdict for today, fathers do not have time to call Jesus anymore as their son. Now look the two planets, compare the two planets. Notice their names. Whatever is beyond, I'm going to make my steps into unknown, step by step. And the next step I'm going to make here on the solid ground is going to be what is happening on this earth and how I found it reflecting in the disposition of the solar system, of the planets of our solar system. I'm going to notice also the other two planets that have been very much talked about, being Mars and Venus. Mercury also, here it is. Certainly something that would be relating to Earth as a matter of previous consciousness. I would find that translating like that, within some kind of previous consciousness of Earth. and I would find the rest of the planet somehow happening as the following consciousnesses of Earth, or the dimensions that into which the Earth will need to grow. I mean, as a material interface, will need to acquire, therefore, these levels of mental recalibration. One would say it would rather happen on individual level than on collective. These are mega protocols. These are a definition of Highlanders, energies of Highlanders. And would have certain manifestation on our culture, in our civilization already as they are by now. You see, Neptune is certainly happening as a blue planet, and certainly would be recognized as something that would require always some kind of careful deploy, or I wouldn't say coaching, but certainly a conversation and ongoing validation of acquired mental clauses or findings or positions, because communication on the planet is always going to be important before we solidify anything on this earth. I will go into further abstraction here. I'm just going to notice there are too many voices that I am catching in my aura. And auto technology today, it is allowing something like that to happen. The way how these people sound is more like they have been doing that for a longer period of time. I would find equally that religion is very much present here and was present here. We are talking about capacity of certain people to have that kind of mental capacity, the capacities they can relate to your mental energy by this kind of telepathic on telepathic levels. Now they sound as, I mean, it makes you to think that religions have been employed in something like that. And although I would think that in certain aspects religions would happen as some kind of safeguard, in many other aspects would happening rather as a matter of violation of our energetic space to which we are entitled, after all, on first account. And then we need to decide what are the dangers. But if someone is providing you that kind of protectionism in a secret mode, then we have all of the reasons to question under what conditions such protectionism has been granted to us. And is it that much of a protectionism, or it is rather squaring and framing our minds further on? As you can properly see all of these pictures of the presidents, the real I'm talking, not the one in the club of artificial politics, usually end up being framed. It is like the mind on this earth continue to be framed, and especially if it is in question imposition, person, or function. Like the upper functions need to be conditioned by the lower energies. Logically, it should be other way around. Logically, it should be other way around. In any case scenario, it is not mechanical, robotic question. Answer to our questions, and never will be our answers mechanical and robotic. And humans should not try to get there, because that is not how our intelligence exists. The answers are not going to be in robotic shape or form, unless you think or you refer to slaves rather than robotics. In any case scenario, point being, framing people within their mental dimensions, in secret mode, is not what we can, under excuse of some kind of mental protection or protectionism of our space, it's not what we can accept. Now, I have also impression that someone is trying to bring all that noise to me, like various viruses attacking my mind, like I'm now compute some kind of computer, and these voices are some kind of viruses that are threatening my functioning. I mean, how far humans can go into some kind of nebulosis? How far certain people can be allowed so much space to do to do on this planet whatever they want? How far that can really go before someone actually stops them? And here we are selling ourselves to big companies, being offered some kind of toys as little kids, and allow these big companies to continue to condition our mental space, and our energetic and the energetic space of the planet. The political faction on the planet, which is representing the citizens of this planet, should therefore step up in this case scenario. And in that context, I'm going to find the religions obsolete. I think their time is finally over, unless and until we find them eventually useful, but not before we clarify exactly how far we really need some kind of protectionism, what kind of protectionism that is, and should we assign it to someone else, or it is rather to be personal level. I think that we should go with a personal level of protectionism, as it is a question of next level of defining our integrity as developed intelligences. We certainly can talk about national levels and regional levels of protectionism in some kind of classic political terms. But when it comes to personal freedom, we reached levels where we need to bring this entire matter to the next level of how we understand our integrity and our identity as energetic beings. Before we outsource such function to someone else. Again, I'm going to say, I wouldn't go with if or before. I'm going to say that is not, and it should not be, a available option. Not anymore. So I'm going to ask you to stop playing viruses over my mind, trying to declare me computer. I'm sorry, you're not going to go away with it. I'm sorry, you're not going to go away with it. And if that's going to make Macedonia to go 10 steps backwards rather than 1 forward, then I'm going to ask you to start thinking on behalf of that nation, as hard as is required, before you continue to have personal opinion under the flag of a nation. What we have also learned, and of course I have noticed that immediately since I started to devote my attention to any of the matters of our civilizational setting, that people in religions technically end up being trapped, or rather prisoners. They are the fallen angels. They are the one given this kind of hardship to be guardians to our sky and devote their entire life literally in prison. That is isolation, actually. That is not life. That is present for a lifetime. And I can't stop thinking of religions in such way, as a matter of punishment of these people, poor people trapped there. And I would not find something like that any more sustainable for the sake, first and foremost, of these people trapped in these buildings as fallen angels. I would look into liberating these people. And today technology certainly is developed enough to provide all sorts of guardianship on our skies. We don't need people trapped in buildings anymore. I would vote for complete liberation of these people out of such buildings to be given. I mean, we can give them. There are so many. There are such uh, um, some kind of abolished places somewhere in Italy, even in Greece, where people do not live anymore. I have understood you can buy out there even a village for very small amount of money. We should. I think that is where we should invest, that we bring these people to just liberate them on such kind of places, and or just, of course, so they actually transit from religion into some kind of community culture, and gradually basically allow them to be free and be in our societies and exist as a free citizens, as there are many people out there that have exited churches and live as civilians now. And that's not impossible. It's not impossible. Certainly today, when internet allows solid earnings for people that um, can use internet for some kind of educational purposes, or there is a variety of opportunities for these people to get accommodated to living as regular people, and that we simply allow the states, the governing, the governings, which of course will need to be improved with much more colorful, should I say, much more rather than uniformed, much more life-related management, rather than to be seen as some kind of military grave next to military grave function of overclosed circles of various economic interest zones. Which they have become rather economic strongholds rather than managing humanity strongholds. I would find, therefore, governments much more dangerous or to be accused for than religions in substance. I'm not going to go into specifics, and the fact that now Vatican is in category of the wealthiest institutions, and who and what stands behind it, and that require very much specific research. I'm talking here from completely different perspective, from perspective of living energy, and how life energy happens on this planet.